Welcome to The Record Show, your virtual spin around the vinyl industry. Brought to you by Radio Wasteland Records. Yes, Midland has a record store. Here's your host, Jim Gleason.
Greetings from the Wasteland, and welcome to a special edition of The Record Show. Special because this week marks the 5th anniversary of the opening of our store, Radio Wasteland Records, here in Midland. Coming up, we'll take a look back at how we got to where we are. But first, let's take a moment for our weekly check-in with Ken Norton from Ingram Entertainment to get us caught up on the highlights of all of this week's new releases. Ken, good day to you, sir.
Good day, Jim. How are you?
I'm well. It's a busy week here, but happy that you're able to take some time and chat with us about business as normal, right?
Sure. Well, congratulations, though. Congratulations
Thank you
on 5 years.
very much. And a big, while I'm in the midst of this, I want to say a big thank you to you and the good folks at Ingram Entertainment. You guys sent us some great promotional items that we're going to pass out here at the store to a lot of our customers, and they'll be very thankful for those.
Tremendous. Yeah. Can celebrate a little bit. That's it. Well due.
Promo items have been kind of hard to come by in the past few years, so it's always good to see we get posters here and there and some other goodies.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are slim.
Well, cool. Now, what can we look forward to this week? Some good news, some eventually news, and lots of other goodies.
It's actually a pretty good week considering it's January, and that's can be the doldrums for new releases some years, but not so much this year. In part thanks to, we mentioned last week, Rhino has a yearly program where they put out some neat reissues for brick and mortar stores only. They call it Start Your Ear Off, right? And for this week, those records coming from that program are the Monkees, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Jones Limited. Particularly with the recent passing of Michael Nesmith, there's been more interest in the Monkees lately, which is a shame, but nonetheless, that's on the way. There's an Otis Redding, Best of Otis Redding, that's only available for brick and mortar stores. It's coming out this week at a pretty reasonable price, a $21.98 list. And let's see, I think that's it for that program. But there's some new music on the way. Bonobo has a new record. There's a red marbled vinyl version of that. It's coming this week. You've got the Lumineers with a new record. There's both an indie exclusive version with Oceana colored vinyl and a regular black vinyl version of that.
And this one could be a little bit tricky in the on the blue side, right?
Yeah, the colored has not shown up yet, so it may be a little late, that one. Speaking of a little late, the David Bowie Low reissue, it's a 2017 remaster. This on orange vinyl. We're waiting on that to show up. That's been delayed with some sort of production or supply chain issue. Let's see, the Front Bottom's 10th anniversary of their self-titled album on a picture disc comes out this week. 2 John Coltrane records for the jazz aficionados, both digitally remastered on 180-gram vinyl. One's live at the Village Vanguard. That was his first live record. And another one's called Crescent. And that is part of the Verve Acoustic Sound series, which audiophiles know about.
There's some really, really nice sounding stuff from that Verve series coming out, isn't there?
Absolutely. People just go crazy for the quality of the vinyl recreation of the sound is quite remarkable for these.
Cool.
On the heavier side of things, Corrosion of Conformity's back. Animosity's their record, and this is on orange and brown vinyl for indies. Heavier, but from 1979, Gang of Four's first record, Entertainment, is being reissued, and this is been recently remastered at Abbey Road from the original analog tapes.
Cool. Now that's a great punk record, alternative record, college radio record, whatever you want to call it. That's a good record.
It is, definitely. If you're not familiar with the band, they were trailblazers for sure. Still sounds pretty trailblazing today, to be honest.
That's cool.
And another new record, the OCs. little more on the psych punk side of things, but pretty great record. Probably Levitation Sessions Volume 1. This is on green vinyl. Clearing green is my description. I'm not sure. I haven't seen this, how it's clear and green. Maybe it's see-through green. And there's also a bonus 7-inch in that package. Last one I want to mention is 21 Pilots. It's the 25th anniversary of their Vessel record, and they're putting that out on silver vinyl.
Now, it's the 25th anniversary, actually, of the Ramen label, if I remember right. They're putting out a lot of these other releases. I was going to say, hold on, wait a minute. It's not been 25
that's what I meant.
years.
No, they haven't been around for 5 years. I'm sorry, I misspoke there.
Feeling old, but it's the Fueled by Ramen label. They've been putting out a lot of their stuff on silver vinyl to kind of commemorate that label. So, I mean, I know what it's like to get to an anniversary. So what's the 5th? What should we be putting out? What is 5? I forget now.
I don't know.
I think it's vinyl. That'll work.
Vinyl. It absolutely is vinyl.
Well, cool. Well, Ken, as always, thank you very much for taking the time today to get us caught up on all of this. And hopefully the production errors will continue to work themselves out, and we'll start getting some goodies on a regular basis. But we're doing well as it is so far this year.
Yeah, it sounds good. And there is a lot of stuff coming out. So it's very encouraging for all us vinyl fans.
Well, sounds good. Thanks again, sir.
Thanks. Have a good one.
As I mentioned at the top of the episode, this week marks a very special one here at Radio Wasteland Records. It's now been 5 years since we first opened our doors as a small, family-owned indie record store here in Midland, Michigan. And in that time, we have not looked back. I remain especially thankful to all of those of you, friends and customers, who have supported our store over the years, as well as a big thanks to those of you who have discovered us through our social media channels, both on Facebook and here on YouTube. You folks are really the reason why we do what we do here at Radio Wasteland Records. So I thought I'd take a few moments today to give a little bit of the background of the store and how we came about, as well as answer one of the questions we get most often: what's with the name Radio Wasteland? So let's start with the name. Radio Wasteland is actually a reference to a couple of different things. First and foremost, it was the name of a radio show, which I hosted, a short-lived one by the way, in 2013 and 2014 on a local NPR station here in our mid-Michigan area. The station was really more known for, being NPR, smooth jazz and classical, so the type of show that I put together, which was 80s, 90s punk and alternative, was really kind of an oddball, and I'm surprised that it made it as long as it did before the management of the station decided, hey, this isn't quite the good mix we're looking for, and they pulled this. So years later, when we looked to open the record store, I still had the Radio Wasteland name rattling around upstairs. We still had a Facebook page on that, and we thought, hey, that would make a really cool name for a record store. Now, the radio show, and hence the record store name, goes back a little bit further. In 1961, a federal communications commissioner by the name of Newton Minow was testifying before Congress. In that testimony, he referred to television, at the time, as a vast wasteland.
To sit down in front of your own television set when your station goes on the air and stay there for a day without a book, without a magazine, without a newspaper, without a profit and loss sheet or a rating book to distract you. Keep your eyes glued to that set until the station signs off. I can assure you that what you will observe is a vast wasteland.
Well, I kind of adapted and adopted that phrase, but because I had such a strong radio background, kind of turned things around and called it Radio Wasteland. I even used a sound sample from Minow's speech in the radio show open that I had done all those years ago.
Weather today. I love you so badly.
They're solid plastic, so don't settle for imitation.
But the senator, while insisting he was not intoxicated, could not explain his nudity.
Wasteland.
Now, as host of that radio show in 2013 and 14, I used an even older air name dating back to the 80s and early 90s when I was on a student radio station at Northern Michigan University. It's now WUPX, but back then it was known as WBKX. And on air, I was none other than Nick Danger. Yeah, it's a bit corny, but you know what? It was fun, and I was having a blast in the 80s as a college radio DJ. The name, by the way, for those of you who are unfamiliar, comes from a character in the Firesign Theaters. They're a comedy troupe, Nick Danger. As you can imagine, Nick Danger was a very inept and somewhat goofy detective, made for a great air name. The Firesign Theater character of Nick Danger, by the way, not only appeared on the How Can You Be in Two Places at Once album, he also had a pair of his own, including The Case of the Missing Shoe and The Three Cases of Al. So fun stuff. So that's a little bit of that. I had a lot of fun on air as Nick Danger on both my college radio station and then the public radio station in the 2013-2014 era. So let's fast forward to 2016. At 51 years old, I find myself in the middle of a slow motion train wreck of losing a job that, quite frankly, I had planned to retire from. I was a college professor. Yes, I was a college professor at one point in time. And in hindsight, losing that job is quite possibly one of the best things that had ever happened to me. It was a situation that was really not very good, working with just a terrible administration and very toxic individuals, coworker-wise. So leaving that job was painful at the time, but in the interim, I began selling some records out of my collection through Discogs and was having some fun with it. And it was at that point my wife and kids suggested, hey, why don't you just open a record store and start selling these things proper? Now, I had never been a business owner in my entire life. I'd worked radio and television for a first career, higher education as a second career. Did I really want to start a third career as risky as opening a new small business? Well, we did some research, and the Midland area had not had a record store for quite some time, and it seemed as if this was the right time to do this. Now, the whole vinyl resurgence thing that's going on at the time was just a happy coincidence. We were going to do this regardless, and being a record collector for the better part of my life, it was just kind of a natural step in. So I very quickly learned to be a small businessman and learned what it was like to open and run a record store. Radio Wasteland Records opened its doors for the very first time on January 13th of 2017. And if you're counting, yes, that was a Friday the 13th. Nothing unlucky about it for us, though, as we were welcomed to this community and by the collectors in our area with open arms. And it's been such a fantastic experience all the way through. Now, we partnered up as soon as we could with Record Store Day. It took quite a while to get pledged with them at the time, so we missed our first Record Store Day in 2017 as a pledge store, but really took off running with that first Black Friday. And then in 2018, we had quite possibly one of our biggest record stores ever in our smaller location. Looked a little bit like this. So as we move through 2018 and into 2019, we're really getting comfortable with what we're doing. But we made one big move in the fall of 2019 that turned out to be a fantastic one for our store. You see, our original location, located in the same building, was really kind of a very small space, very compact and very tight. And heading into what we would now know as 2020 and 21, that may not have been the best thing. But in the fall of 2019, the week before Record Store Day, Black Friday, by the way, we moved locations from one part of our building to the next. And we essentially tripled our space, doubled our floor space, and added a bunch of storage. And it really, really opened things up for us as a record store. We were now able to organize things a little more clearly, have a full space for our dollar room in the back, and really give ourselves that look and feel of a traditional record store. Something really that had been very important to me from the beginning was capturing that feeling of the record stores that I used to go to in the 70s and 80s. And I think that we have done that here with Radio Wasteland Records. So now we see ourselves moving into our fifth year. We've survived the closures of 2020 and the weirdness of 2021, and we're ready to take on whatever 22 and points beyond has to throw at us. And again, we cannot do this without all of you. To our customers, who are now our friends and quite frankly our little record store family, thank you very much. You're the reason that we do this, and we cannot do this without your support. And to those of you who have found us online through both Facebook and our YouTube channel that we regularly ship stuff to, thank you as well. Your support means a great deal to us. Looking forward, I think Radio Wasteland is going to be here to stay. We're having a blast with this. I'm having fun with this because, quite frankly, as a record collector, this is a great way to add to my collection while at the same time allowing you guys to add to yours as well. Here's to not only another 5 years, but all points beyond. And thank you again from all of us here at Radio Wasteland Records.
Watch out, here I come. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, round, 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 round. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, round, 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 round.
Thanks for watching The Record Show. If you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe to the Radio Wasteland Records YouTube channel. And be sure to hit that notifications bell so you'll be alerted every time we upload new content.